On the morning of January 24, 2006, in Orlando, Florida, a young professional failed to arrive at her office, leaving an apartment pristine, yet entirely devoid of its occupant. How does an active, successful woman vanish without a trace from her own home in broad daylight? The mystery of Jennifer Kesse remains one of the most perplexing missing person cases in modern American history, defined by a distinct lack of physical evidence. 24-year-old Jennifer Kesse was a reliable finance manager at Westgate Resorts who maintained a structured daily routine. She had recently purchased a condominium, earned a promotion, and returned from a Caribbean vacation with her boyfriend. According to records from her employer and family, Jennifer had no known conflicts, personal debts, or threatening acquaintances, making her sudden disappearance entirely out of character for the disciplined professional. Her final confirmed communication occurred on the evening of January 23, 2006. Jennifer called her boyfriend at approximately 10 o'clock from inside her living room. Their conversation was completely routine, with no indication of anxiety or impending danger. When her boyfriend attempted to reach her the following morning before her morning commute, the call went directly to voicemail, marking the beginning of an unsettling silence. The alarm was raised when Jennifer failed to report for an important 8:30 morning meeting. Concerned by her unprecedented absence, her employer contacted her parents, Drew and Joyce Kesse. They immediately drove to her residence at the Mosaic at Millennia Complex in Orlando, Florida, arriving within hours to find a scene that raised far more questions than answers. Inside the condominium, investigators observed subtle indicators of a typical morning routine. A damp towel rested on the shower door, laid-out clothing remained on the bed, and makeup sat beside the sink, suggesting Jennifer had awakened and prepared for work. Her keys, cell phone, iPod, and purse were absent, while her unmade bed indicated she had slept at home that night without incident. Outside the residence, however, her 2004 Chevrolet Malibu was missing from its designated parking space. Law enforcement initially designated the case as a missing person file, an official legal classification designated for individuals whose whereabouts are unknown and whose vanishings occur under circumstances suggesting potential foul play. The absence of forced entry inside the residence complicated the immediate establishment of a primary crime scene. Detectives began by scrutinizing those closest to the missing manager. Investigators systematically evaluated her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, and co-workers, establishing a verified alibi for each individual. In criminal investigations, an alibi represents validated proof that a person was in a different physical location at the precise time a crime occurred. Every close associate was fully cooperative and cleared of involvement. A significant breakthrough occurred on January 26, 2006, 2 days after her disappearance. A resident at the Huntington on the Green apartment complex, situated approximately 1 mile from Jennifer's home, reported a parked vehicle matching the description of her missing Chevrolet Malibu. Authorities secured the location immediately, hoping the automobile would yield critical clues to her whereabouts. Forensic technicians examined the vehicle extensively for physical evidence. Forensics, the application of scientific techniques to law enforcement inquiries, produced remarkably meager results. The car had been thoroughly wiped down, leaving no usable latent fingerprints, partial palm prints, or foreign biological materials. The absence of natural physical transfer suggested a deliberate, methodical effort by the perpetrator to erase all evidence. The most critical piece of evidence emerged from a security camera mounted near the parking lot fence where the vehicle was left. Surveillance video captured an unidentified individual driving Jennifer's car into the complex at approximately noon on January 24, 2006. The person parked the vehicle, sat in the cabin for several seconds, and then casually walked away along the outer perimeter wall. This footage highlights the profound frustration of having clear visual records of a perpetrator that remain functionally unusable. The subject walked past a wrought iron fence where decorative vertical posts lined the camera's field of view. By an astonishing stroke of misfortune, the camera snapped images every 3 seconds, and in every frame, a fence post completely obscured the suspect's face. Technical analysts at the Federal Bureau of Investigation conducted exhaustive enhancements of the security recording. According to official reports from the Bureau, the individual stood between 5 feet 3 inches and 5 feet 5 inches tall and wore clothing reminiscent of a painter or construction worker. However, due to the poor resolution and physical obstruction, experts could not definitively confirm the subject's gender, age, or ethnicity. Attention shifted back to the mosaic at Millennia Complex, which was undergoing extensive renovations at the time of the disappearance. Numerous temporary maintenance workers and subcontractors had access to master keys and unmonitored entry into vacant units. According to reports from local journalists, Jennifer had previously expressed discomfort regarding crude verbal comments made by certain workers on the property. The lingering uncertainty took a heavy emotional toll on her family, who transformed their grief into relentless advocacy. Drew and Joyce Kesse established dedicated search funds, organized community grid searches, and maintained consistent media outreach. Their efforts ensured that their daughter did not become a forgotten statistic within the vast landscape of unresolved national disappearances. Frustrated by the slow pace of official proceedings, the Kesse family took unprecedented legal action in 2018. They filed a civil lawsuit against the Orlando Police Department to obtain full access to the complete investigative records. Upon settling the lawsuit, the family received 16,000 pages of unredacted files, enabling a private team of retired investigators to re-examine every piece of evidence from the ground up. Independent investigators meticulously cross-referenced hundreds of leads that had been shelved during the initial response. According to statements released by the private investigative team, several early tips regarding suspicious vehicles and unaccounted-for workers had not been fully pursued during the chaotic first days of the investigation. This realization prompted targeted, renewed search operations across Central Florida. In 2019, specialized dive teams conducted extensive searches of Lake Eleanor, located near the area where her car had been recovered. Based on a reevaluated witness report, searchers spent days probing the murky lake bed with advanced sonar technology. Despite exhaustive efforts, technicians recovered no personal belongings or physical remains connected to the long-standing missing person file. A major administrative transition occurred in 2022 when the Orlando Police Department officially handed lead jurisdiction over to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. According to statements from regional law enforcement leadership, transferring the cold case file allowed a fresh team of homicide detectives to review the accumulated evidence with entirely modern analytical tools and perspectives. Despite these renewed efforts, the unidentified figure seen in the security footage remains the central mystery of the entire case. The unknown suspect managed to navigate suburban Orlando in broad daylight, park the victim's car, and walk into the surrounding neighborhood without a single witness coming forward to provide a verifiable name or identity. The disappearance exerted a lasting influence on local awareness and property management standards. The case catalyzed debates regarding security practices at large residential complexes, leading many multi-unit housing developments across Florida to implement stricter background checks for contracted laborers and upgrade perimeter security cameras to higher frame rates. Critical questions surrounding the morning of January 24, 2006, remain unanswered. Investigators still cannot conclusively determine whether Jennifer was abducted from her apartment interior, ambushed in the parking lot as she walked to her vehicle, or intercepted during her morning drive. The absence of a physical crime scene continues to impede the construction of a definitive timeline. Today, the disappearance of Jennifer Kesse stands as a solemn reminder of how an elusive suspect and a twist of fate on camera can stall a massive investigation. The Kesse family continues to seek answers, driven by the belief that someone holds the final key to resolving this enduring Florida mystery and bringing long overdue peace to those left behind.